say, I think what I'm hearing here today, and bear in mind that we are elected, so we're meant to represent you, so we're not here just to give you our view and then you accept it. This is the whole point of this, is to hear what you want us to do about something. So that's the purpose of today. So what I'm hearing is that we all agree that pollution in London is bad. We all know that our children are getting asthma and our older people, including some people in this room, have COPD. We all agree that. I think what we don't agree on is we don't like the fact that some people are going to get their air cleared because their roads are being filtered and some people are not. So we've gone to a seesaw model. And what we all want, including myself and Mike and the staff and the council and everybody in this room, is we want the air pollution to go down, but we want it to go down for everybody, and we want everyone to feel like they're getting some benefit from this. And so, therefore, what's happening at the moment is when we decide to filter some roads, and I know you don't like the jargon, but closing a road means you can't get through. And two, can I just finish if that's okay, because I have tried to listen to everyone's view. What we have done in essence, in layman's terms, in plain English, is we've created closes or cul-de-sacs on these roads. So that's what's happening. You can't drive through, but you can still get to. And I think what some of you are saying is, yeah, but getting to those roads means we have to go all the way around, when the logical kind of sense would be, why don't you just let us go this way instead of going all the way around, and how does that work? So I think that's what I'm hearing now. We all want to, nobody wants anyone to die from COPD, nobody wants kids having asthma. Let's all agree on that. We all agree on that. And we all want to reduce pollution, we all want to reduce car emissions in our borough, we all agree on that. Where we're having the argument is this the right way to do it? And that's where I think we're at. So I'm going to ask Mike to come in and explain the theory behind it, but I just want to say a few things that makes you realise why I'm still trying to give this a go. I'm going to be honest, and I'm sure the officers will smile when I say this, I am not somebody who has been a massive fan of LTNs from the beginning, because it didn't make logical sense. However, if it means that less people, like my uncle who passed away 2 years ago, doesn't have COPD, or less kids don't have to keep pumping an asthma pump, then I'm willing to give it a go. But what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we do this right. Now, it doesn't mean that the first round of this is perfect. So we have to listen today and say, do you know what? Some of these things haven't worked properly, and we just need to tweak it. So don't chuck the whole baby out with the bathwater. Let's see what we can do. And couple of the stats, I think somebody asked for stats, and we can get that to Father Joe and he can disseminate it to everybody. But one of the stats that really shocked me was the amount of traffic in our borough that was from people that never live here and never stop here. So there are people that are coming from Enfield trying to get to Hackney. They don't shop here, they don't go to school here, they don't do anything here. And so we're having to swallow all of their car fumes, and they're coming through our borough. Now, when you look at the A roads of this country, of London, you could actually get to Enfield to Hackney by staying on the A roads or going on things like the North Circular, etc.
Sorry, Seema, why don't they make it so residents can drive around the borough? If that's the case...
Okay, that's the second question, and you can take that in the next round, because I've got a whole just from this round. So I just want to, I think one of the things we're trying to do, and maybe in doing so it's gone a bit far and then it's had a different impact, is we're trying to frustrate people who are trying to come in our borough and through our borough, to make it kind of difficult. Now I hear what you're saying, that actually you never had a complaint before on Langham Road, you never had a complaint before on Vincent Road. Actually, I can tell you that I've had loads of complaints on those roads, because people are now using sat-nav or Google Maps and finding shortcuts and getting round, and those traffic has gone up. Has it gone up higher than it did in Westbury Road? Of course not. And I think what you're saying is, why did you not tackle Westbury Road and Belmont Road where there was more of a problem instead of this? And just using this balloon, even though it's Father Joe's finger, he's coming from somewhere. So if we take Belmont Road, people were coming onto Belmont Road from Vincent Road, they were coming onto Belmont Road from Langham Road, so they were coming from Wood Green, chucking a couple of, going down Carlingford, trying to get onto Langham Road, trying to come through here, get onto Black Boy Lane and get out of this borough. They had no intention of stopping. So that's the idea behind it. How do we stop their entrances in? But what I'm hearing today is that by stopping people from the outside, sound like we're talking about alien invasion, but by starting people from the outside coming in, we've made it hostile for you to come in. And so your question about should we let residents be allowed to drive freely is one that can be put forward as part of this. Is this the way that we're going to find the balance of keeping people outside and making sure that people inside are free to travel?
But talking to business owners, yeah, go for it. No, go for it.
He's not allowing me to have a dialogue, he's only allowing me to respond.
Yeah, that's fine.
And his father Joe, anyone else I would have ignored, but I haven't choice. In terms of your questions about the hospital and getting places, I mean, I also have to get to these hospitals, and one of the things we need to think about is, I mean, there is a smaller issue. You can't actually get to the hospital if you live around here by bus. You can't. You have to go all the way to Tottenham High Road and get 318 that comes every 30 minutes, and it then goes around. And you go to High Lane and get the 444. That's a smarter way of doing it, actually. But there's still long routes to get to places. So one of the things we also need to say is, what do people around here need to do? Where do they need to go? I don't drive, I can't drive, I can't cycle either. I have no option but to get on a bus, and therefore I would like the buses to be better, and I'd like them to get me to places where I want to be. So I think there is a longer term fight, and maybe the valid thing here is, why didn't we sort out the buses before we started doing this, and then people would have gone out their cars? And I think it's one of them chicken and eggs. Which ones do we do first, and how do we get that pressure there? So that's my view. I'm not going to. None of them have answered your question, but I hope you feel that I've understood what you're saying. And then when the next round comes along, what we're here to do is actually say, actually this hasn't worked here, or it's actually causing a problem for this, and for us to go around. This is the consultation. And I know people are like, we weren't consulted. This is the consultation. It's a live experimental consultation. I can tell you now that these maps were going through people's doors or all up around this area for about a year and a half before we before the consultations, the experiment started. Nobody got it. Even if you read this now, you're like, I don't get it. I don't understand what this is. And you probably put it in the bin. But now it's really happening, people are like, I've got things to say. And this is where we're going to listen and we're going to move on. Mike, do you want to come in on some of the technical stuff?